Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day or night you're listening to this. I hope it is the best for you. I'm Grant Lamontang from multitool.org, and this is EDC-TV. As usual tonight, I've got my good buddies with me, Abe Elias, the owner of Diving Sparrow Knife Works and field editor for Blade Magazine. And how are you tonight, Abe?
Good.
That's good. And we also have Inky, the online knife trader extraordinaire. How are you doing tonight, Inky?
I'd like to thank everyone for having me here.
Well, it's great to have you. Tonight's topic is going to be what's new and exciting for 2026 from some of the main manufacturers. We haven't gotten our hands on anything yet, so we're just going to be looking at some pictures online and getting an idea of what we think we're going to like and dislike. I feel like with the experience that these gentlemen have, we should be able to make some interesting observations. But before we get to that, hey, you get anything new and exciting this week?
I got a couple of things. One of them's a little out of the ordinary for you guys. So we'll start with kind of the ordinary. I got the Shard DT.
Okay.
I've been carrying it for a little while, last week or so.
And that's part of Gerber's Shard Series, is it?
Yeah, it's part of the Gerber Shard Series. So I have the original Shard. I've got the Shard XL coming. This came first. There was a back order problem with the Shard XL.
Right.
So this came in, apparently it's green. My screen didn't show it up as green as it is. So it's kind of nice. I've had it on the keychain for a little bit. Not a ton of tools on it. There's a little bit of a pry here. There's a Phillips screwdriver here. You can see that it's flat Phillips screw. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That helps it out. And there's the pry edge right here. So I don't know if that comes up very well.
This looks kind of like more like a dog tag that's just been mangled or something more than a tool.
So I looked at it and it's I gotta say, honest opinion on this one, straight up, it's not really impressed. I knew what it was like. I thought I would try it, see what the utility was. Bottle opener, I'm not really hugely impressed with it. So
like, to me, it looks like they kind of phoned that one in. Like they needed a few extra, things for the new lineup, and they came out with that one. And I mean, there's an awful lot of metal there. Why didn't you at least cut a little square O2 wrench or something in there so you could say that there's something on?
Or, do you find another angle for a flathead screwdriver? Because there's no flathead. I mean, everything's Phillips with this. The pry doesn't go all the way. Like if you're going to do a screwdriver, you might have put the flathead, this pry bar. See how that pry bar has that nice sharp edge to it? Well, why not take that and put that on the side of the bottle opener a bit, so that way you've got something you could get in there and use as a flathead. They put it on the wrong side.
Or put on something like just, etch a small ruler or something into it.
Yeah. Now, my big pet peeve, I don't want to spend too much time on this because, like I said, I was kind of disappointed in it. My big pet peeve with a lot of stuff, and everybody has their own opinion on this, is they put bottle openers in freaking everything right now.
Because it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. I just said a mail in. They just mailed this in. So I would have liked to see them put something else here instead of the bottle opener. Or if you're going to put the bottle opener, like you said, they got a whole other side here. They got this angle back here. They didn't need to give me an elongated slot. See the keychain thing. So this, I'm not really hugely
It's like they needed to take up space with something that wasn't going to require any effort. So they put a fancy design on one side and a giant Gerber logo on the other.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I'm actually a big fan of Gerber stuff, and I'm kind of a little disappointed in that one.
Yeah, same here. I'm waiting. You've got your XL.
I do.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to get mine.
So how about you, Inky? Have you gotten anything new and exciting?
I wound up adding to the order and upgrading the shipping. I wound up getting those other knives, the ones made by Dagger, their other company. They're more like a Russian style knife. So I don't know if you can see these or not.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Okay, that looks interesting.
The name of the company is, I believe, Nepema. I don't even know. Yeah, it's Nepemeh. Nepema. I don't know what they are, but it's pretty nice size. Got the thing back here, a very small flipper, which I'd like to put on a 007 actually.
Yeah,
But
because I
that
thought
tiny has the same kind of blade too.
yeah, that's exactly it. When I was looking at it, it kind of reminded me of what you were talking about, the 007 or a kind of a fancy sod buster.
Yeah, but has a tiny little flipper, which I thought that would work, keep it as close to original, but that's a different subject. Anyway, this is about 3 3/4 the blade. It's pretty nice. You know, it's got something running on it, a rabbit. I don't know.
That pocket clip, is that the only place that it goes?
Yeah, unfortunately, and it's tipped down.
Was
I
it a
guess you
liner
could put it on
lock?
the other. What?
Liner lock on that one?
Yeah, liner lock, pretty thick. They're almost frame locks on some of these jimmies.
That looks like a small pocket clip, or maybe the knife is just really large.
It's a big knife. Hand is probably 5 inches. And I got another one from them, another side bustery thing. Harder to open.
That's another one I saw that I liked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the old shotgun puller, I guess. I don't know what it was. Remember that?
yeah.
Yeah.
This thumb stud is horrendous. Feels like I'm going to cut myself.
Yeah, it looks
It's a
awkward.
disc, but it goes all the way out far. See it on one side?
Holy smokes, that's huge.
You could use it, but it's not working for me. I think it's got to be forward a little bit more. It's
Yeah.
a little far back. It's a nice, it's almost like a frame lock again. And
And what is that one called, or who makes that
this
one?
one's the same company. I don't
It's
know.
a dagger.
It's definitely a side bustery type thing with a little bit of a clip on it. You know?
Grind looks really nice.
Well, they're great, these things. You
Yeah.
know, yours is about this size with an access lock. It's a different version of this. I don't know the actual names of these. But yeah, I got those. I'll show you my Okapi knife with the laser and very blade on it instead.
Yeah, you keep asking me if I have one. I'm pretty sure I have one, but I have it, not the cold steel one, because the cold steel's black plastic. I got a brown wooden handle like that.
Well, they got the kudu, that's what they call them. They got the light, it doesn't have the lock. It's like a real strong slip joint. I seen Lynn to have a stack of cardboard boxes, slip joints that like a 4-inch blade or bigger, holding it like this, with the slip joint, slammed through all the boxes. He buried it.
Yeah, but Lynn can afford new hands. I can't.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, every time, I mean, he did it like 1,000 times. I was cringing watching him. So I had to buy a box of them by accident. And
Very
I got
cool.
a brand new in the box. Uncle Henry Stockman, Lord Stockman, USA. That's the reason I bought all that stuff off the guy. Everything else I have in the photo tent. I took pictures. So I could just read it out to you. But that's it. That's my, the past couple of weeks, actually. I haven't been buying a lot of stuff anymore. That stuff mostly I bought to kind of sell and stuff like that. Got like a little, the original SOG Twitch, the little one, the one. You don't see them anymore, the tiny little one.
Yeah.
I got
Is that the one that Sog gave away with purchase a while back?
I don't think they make it anymore. I think they did the Twitch 2 or something. The Twitch
Okay.
one is very tiny. It's like a 1-inch blade, 1.5-inch blade.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. I've got a couple
Yeah,
of
they're
Twitch.
nice.
So
They're hard for me to open with my hands. They're too small. Even
yeah,
with the flipper.
but they're really flat. They're very good. They're very
good
small,
micros.
subtle EDC.
Yes.
They're really
Yeah.
nice, small.
Yeah, they're cool. They're nice.
Yeah, they're really nice. I got you guys familiar with the company called Blade Matrix on the internet?
Yeah.
So their brick and mortar store is Cincinnati something or not. It's in Cincinnati. So on the way back from Blade, I stopped there one year and they had a little fishbowl. And because they do a lot of mail order stuff, anytime they get a damaged box because they don't want to ship the damaged box out, they strip the knife from the box and throw it in this fishbowl and sell it dirt cheap.
Nice.
And that's where I picked up that's where Twitch.
Nice.
I picked up the whole bowl that was there.
So what are those
tell
knives
ya.
called, Inky?
The Paramin is the red one. The big one is the Paramin.
Okay.
This guy.
I'm glad that one's not in a green because I think that would be another pickle knife.
Yeah. Well, it comes in brown, red, and black, I think. I wanted it red.
I
usually
don't want to
buy
say
red
what the
knives.
brown one would look like.
It's actually not.
I like
in the
that.
photo, but this is called the Zubry. Zubry.
Yep.
Well,
I
the other one,
appreciate
Bill-
having the shell extractor on that, but I
Don't
really
need it.
I've never actually needed a shell extractor, and all the times I've, fired 12
Me either.
gauge, which is a lot. So,
It happens sometimes.
well, I'm
So
sure it does. I don't doubt it, but
yeah,
does it happen often enough that I need one on my knife?
And I'd bring it if I was skeet shooting or something, but I just bought it for that traditional Russian thing because I did look them up. They are traditional. Well, these are modernized, but they actually do make these knives. Definitely the shotgun.
that reminds me of a military knife. I just can't remember which one it is. Like an old, I think maybe a World War II military knife. For some strange reason, that guard, the extra hook.
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing. If you're gonna have that on a knife, it's gotta come from a good quality one. If not, it's probably just some cheapo that's been stuck there to try to make it look cool. And I think it fails miserably at that. I really do not care for the aesthetic. I appreciate it for its function, even though
Yeah.
I've never used it. If I'm ever in a situation where I do need to use it, I'll be glad to have it. But no, I don't much care for it. I've seen
Yeah,
so
I
many.
would say this one would work, but I don't like it either. But I like the traditional old Russian knife, and I knew it was going to be a usable knife too.
Right.
So all in all, and plus it got the order here a lot quicker. I don't know if you noticed how fast it got here. As soon as it came, it got here. Boom. They sent it out, it was here.
Yeah.
That is
Usually it
fast.
takes an extra week or so to get it here once they say they shipped it. So
Actually,
was
you know what I
worth it.
use for my shell extractor is my shard. My shard, there's because I score trap. I score and I run the trap range a couple days of the week. So I've had a lot of the common guns that get stuck, obviously, are semi-automatics and pumps. And so a lot of times I have to walk out on the line and unjam a guy's gun, and that shard works incredibly well and doesn't do any damage to the gun on top of it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to damage a guy's gun. That's a real problem. So, Inky, you mentioned something earlier about a certain type of knives you were looking for. And I believe you said you were looking for more white knives.
Yes, white handled, preferably G10. Anything I'd like in that.
They released, CRKT released, what was it, the Provoke in a black and white concept a little while ago. I think it was a special edition, maybe. And that looked really, really sharp. So I can definitely get on board with wanting a white handled knife.
Oh, I love them. It's just it's a new thing for me.
I have several white handled Swiss Army knives, and they just look elegant, right?
Yeah, they're great. I can't use mine because they're pretty not white anymore.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens when things actually get used. That's why I try to avoid the translucent scales on Swiss Army knives,
Yeah,
like the
scratch
ruby
and
red and the sapphire blue, and they look like crap after a few weeks of carry, and I hate that. You spend money on good looking scales, you want them to look good, and they just don't. But anyways, we do have a topic, which I'm sure comes as a surprise to us as much as it does to all of you. Tonight, we're going to be looking at some of the cool new stuff from 2026 that was announced in last week's SHOT Show and anywhere else that they make announcements. So we're going to take a start off with CRKT here. And I got to say, the new, what is it called? The counterpart crossbar lock. Bit of a mouthful. Looks like it's available in a bunch of different colors and stuff. I got to say, I kind of actually like the look of that one. I think, Abe, you had a comment about that, did you not?
Yeah, and as I've looked across some of the new releases this year, it looks like it's definitely piggybacking on the bug out popularity. To me, that looks maybe not exactly like, but a lot like a bug out.
You're talking about the Benchmade bug out, correct?
Yes, the Benchmade bug out.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, it's available in some different colors. What do we got here?
It's even got a white handle for Inky.
I was going to
You
say,
go
I think
down.
there's a white handle in there. It is listed as gray.
Is it?
Yeah,
Wow.
if you select it.
See, my screen
It's
is
a very light gray, but it looks more white to me.
there. It is. Yeah, it says gray 14C28N. That's the other thing about. Well, remember I mentioned that with my my shard here. It didn't look this. This looks more like an OD green, rather than it looked a little bit different shade of green. So sometimes your screen shows you stuff that looks a little different.
So yeah, that Q Compact looks interesting. But I got to say, really, the one that's jumping out at me is that one that you said looked like the bug out, the counterpart. I think that's a Ken Onion design, is it not?
Let's see. Let's go back
Yeah.
up to it.
When legendary knife maker Ken Onion puts pen to paper, the result is always purpose built. The counterpart is no exception, blending practical utility with smooth modern style. The counterpart features 12C27 steel drop point blade with black oxide finish, offering excellent edge retention and corrosion resistance. So there you go.
If you look right next to the first one, that Tanto tip kind of then takes you right to the other Benchmade one that looks similar in that build, which is the bailout.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that as well. But those have been really good sellers for Benchmade, so I can definitely see somebody kind of going along in those lines.
Yeah, which is funny because I think we mentioned this before. I think the original lightweight all G10 handle one, or not all G10, but the large part of it's just D10 scales, was, if I had to look back at the first one that I saw come up on the market, was an old K-Bar one, and it was a Bob Dozier design. I've got it around here somewhere. So it's funny, that one, but that one came out dirt cheap, like really dirt cheap. Like I think you could buy them for like $20 or something like that.
Right.
As where the bug out is not a $20 knife.
We talked recently about the M16 knives and how much respect we all have for that entire series. And I see CRKT has a new version of that. And I really want to get Inky's input on the Balisong version of the M16 knife.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I think the blade's too small. I don't know. It's expensive, and I don't see why they had to use Magna Cut. I don't know. It has that definite old 80s style cheap Balisong looking handle. I'm sure it's not. I don't know. Hopefully they're made in America because they have to be, you know?
Here.
Because they're Balisong, they have to be made in America. I don't know. It's a lot of money. I wouldn't buy one.
$300. I hope the hell they're made in.
Well, the thing is, you have to make them here because I don't think they make much in America lately. No, I don't think I am more interested in the Emerson crossbar locks, but I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in seeing the Balisong, but I'm not interested in buying one.
That Balisong, to me, when you look at the handle, the fact that the handle is not symmetrical. When I saw it, the thing that it first reminded me of is do you guys remember the CIA folding knife?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of what it's like.
Yeah, because of the handle being, well, even then, I think the CIA had more of a symmetrical handle, but I know there's just something about it. Yes, it's a Balisong, but it reminds me more of that version than, say, a regular Balisong. But yeah, the M16 crossbar lock, that's looking nice. Icky.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
This
it is.
has such a space between the blade and the lock. I would say you got a good chance of getting your little finger stuck in there here and there.
It is made in the USA, by the way.
Yeah, it has to be.
Which I would hope so for that price.
I guess it looks like when it's closed, you see that big space it has?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice
that's
size
crazy.
gap.
That's also why it reminded me of the CIA knife, because there tends to be. Now, by the way, for our viewers, CRKT set themselves up in the market with a lot of imported knives, but it's been probably close to a decade now that I heard talk from them that they were really, really, really trying to find some American-made knives. They wanted to put some American-made knives in their lineup, and so the last, I don't know how many years because I haven't really been paying attention.
Probably
but you'll
about 3
notice
or
that
4.
about 3 or 4. They've been, I knew it was at least 3. They have been putting that they've been bringing the American made blades. I actually had talked to them at a SHOT Show about, I pitched them the idea of setting up a micro production center that I would set up for them and run for a little while until they found somebody. And at that time, they weren't ready to do it. I don't know what they're doing now, where they're getting these made if they're making them themselves. But at that time, I laid out for Doug.
So this says here on the Balisong page, crafted in Colorado by Live Sharp Industries.
Okay. So yeah, but back then they were really looking at that time, they were really looking at an American-made knife. And I think I'm glad they finally got there. There was a desire of theirs for a long time. They were just trying to work out how to do it.
Yeah, but the prices got way up there when they did it.
Yeah, and they admitted that would be the problem. They
Yeah, it
wanted to
certainly
try and
is.
stay close to their customer base, the price range that's known to their customer base, but at the same time, they knew that they would probably get away from there.
Yeah, that was one of the things that struck me when I saw that Balisong at $300. I was like, $300 for a CRKT? Like, that doesn't sound right. I realize it's going to cost more because it's made in the USA and all those other things, but I think I have absolutely no interest in that Balisong whatsoever. But like you guys, I think that crossbar lock version of the M16 is definitely going to have to come home with me someday.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool looking.
Yeah, I like that. I like part of the reason I like that, I can tell you right now, without even having to hold it, is you're no longer dealing with I like the liner locks, but you're not dealing with the liner lock, and if you're not dealing with the liner lock, you're not dealing with the secondary safety lock. And I don't know if they still had that on the M16s recently, but I remember when it became an auto lock, that
Yeah.
was a bit of a pain in the butt.
Ugh,
Yes, it was.
terrible.
So, is there anything else new at CRKT that you guys like? I mean, there's a
I'm seeing
bunch
a
of
lot of
stuff. There's the Fidus and
expensive stuff that's
the
not even made in America.
Burrower and the box key slip joint. There's some new colors of the Bear Claw.
Yeah, isn't the bear claw one of your favorites? Don't you like that for canoeing or kayaking or what?
It is one of the knives. Give me a sec.
Comes in many happy colors now.
Yeah, it is one of the knives that lives in my stable of boat knives. I like it because, like, I mean, I do kayaking, not canoeing. Although I canoe as well. Sometimes when you're doing stupid things in a kayak, like whitewater boating, you want to be able to grab your knife quickly if you get tangled up in something. There's oftentimes you'll get fishing line or something in a tree branch as you go under it, and you get snagged, and you want to cut that sucker off before it rips into you. And you need to get your knife fast. So I like something that I don't have to look at, that I can just grab and automatically know which way it is in my hand. And you can do that with the Bear Claw knife. Although, to be honest, the one that I much prefer from CRKT for that is it was the Nicholas. And I gotta
That's
say,
right.
that is my absolute all-time favorite kayak knife. And I think they only produced it for a year. And that had to be close to 20 years ago now. But it was the absolute best kayak knife as far as I was concerned. I bought up every orange one I could find and many of the blue ones I could find.
Yeah.
And the orange ones were all serrated with a rounded tip, and the blue ones were plain edge with a pointier tip.
So and that's the one with that special sheath on it where there's the lock on the spine and you push it out and it allows the knife come out, right?
You literally cannot draw that one unless you're holding it properly, and that's why I like it.
I got a question, comment, something.
Yeah, what do you got?
These out the fronts they're selling.
Who sells?
Plum River. This one's called the Zlati. I don't know, XOL, OTL, Zlotto, however you'd say that. It says crafted in the USA. Does that mean it was put together here?
That should be what it means, yeah.
Or the parts made here too? Because a lot of the companies build them here. And it has Magna Cut. So them using Magna Cut, if they also handmade all the parts here or machine made them all here and put them together here, this would be a good price, maybe. But I think I wouldn't buy it either way. Don't get me wrong. But what does that mean exactly? What do you think, Abe? Crafted?
I don't know, because that language is kind of like product of, made in.
Yeah.
You know,
the other American knife, like the Balisong says made in the USA.
Yeah.
So that means this is crafted. So they have companies that do what they're doing with that knife for $40, $50, like Ravencrest. You get one of their knives on sale for $50 and its full price is $100, where they build them here, and they'll go through car doors like everything else, but the parts are obviously from overseas.
Yeah.
And they're always D2. And I've owned many of them. I'm not saying they're great, but it would be the equivalent of that, in my opinion.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that for that price, that it is probably American made. I don't know that all the parts were made in the U.S.
Well, it has to be American made. That's the thing. But the parts don't have to be.
Maybe. Well, yes and no. It depends. In California, you have to have a higher percentage made in America in order to qualify as made in the USA. You have to have, I think it's like 95% of all the components made in the USA as well. And that was the reason why, was it the late 90s or early 2000s, Leatherman had to
Yeah, I remember that.
stop having the Leatherman USA stamp in the plier heads, and they used to have to mill out the USA part because, of course, they had all these plier heads stockpiled, and they didn't meet that 95% or something like that. Because I think
Yeah.
the plier heads are made in Mexico, or at least were at the time. I don't know if they still are. And they would source pivot pins from Asia, I think, or maybe also Mexico. I don't recall. But
Yeah. See,
either way,
manufacturing. Sorry, go ahead.
either
No.
way, it was assembled in the U.S., but from U.S. and foreign made components.
It'd be
Despite
interesting to
the
ask.
current issues right now with made in the USA stuff and things like that, you got to remember, even if something is made in the USA, there's a very good chance that the steel, the components, whatever is sourced from elsewhere. And if not, then definitely a lot of the machinery is. There's a noted knife maker right now, I won't mention his name, getting very upset on the socials about, he was bragging about how everything he does is, USA steel, USA this, USA that, and great for him. But then complaining because he had to pay giant tariffs on a new, I think it was a milling machine from Germany or something. So you can have it one way or you can have it the other. You can't have it both ways. So, anyways,
Yeah.
moving on.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I was going to say, and there you have another issue there. Sure, some of the materials might have been, but when you're bringing in, like, I know I use German sanding belts, so that's not in the equation if you're looking at 100% USA product. But back to the knives, there was one thing I noticed that was kind of interesting. It's not a knife, but it's an EDC item, and we talked about this just earlier tonight. So there's if you guys have seen it, it's the Hangry pry bar.
Who makes that?
It's down on the page. It's CRKT. Sorry, CRKT Hangry pry bar. So I'm looking at it, and immediately when I scan down there, if you look at the profile, it looks like one of the old style utility knives.
Yeah, but without a blade sliding out of it.
Right. And so it's got that shape, and I have the shard, right? So obviously I kind of like the idea of prying at things, right? But my shard has multiple tools on it. I have often wondered the benefit of just having a dedicated prying tool. I'm not knocking them. I've often because that's just a pry bar. Unless I'm missing something and I haven't opened it up yet. The colors are nice. I like the copper or whatever it is they're calling that. And then it looks like there's like a gray. There's a blue. I didn't see the blue before. I hadn't seen the blue till.
So that is the hang pry, not the hangry, and it's available in bronze and a rainbow.
I am hangry. Sorry,
and a gray, and it's $48 listed on their website. Well, the fact is, this one is probably going to sell really well to the Gucci crowd and the Instagram guys and, the man buns. But realistically, if you ever used a pry bar, you know that titanium is a little too soft and is actually a really terrible pry bar. So I can't say I'm holding out a lot of hope for that one.
Yeah.
Gray titanium.
But that aside,
it'll look great in the pictures of your pocket dump, though.
It would look great.
Especially the rainbow one.
My
next
question
to all of your other stuff with no scratches or marks on it.
Yeah. The question that I'm looking at, though, is because we've seen this in the industry for years now, decades, a dedicated pry bar. Now, there's other guys that are putting out multi-tool pry bars, and I can't say I'm against pry bar because I've got a shard on me, but it's not the same thing as a pry bar. I'm just wondering what the utility of that is for most people.
You could probably open a paint can with this.
At least.
What do we got here? The overall length is 3.6 inches or 91.34 millimeters. So about the size of a standard Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
So a little bit better than some of those 2-inch pry bars that we've been seeing on the market for years. But yeah, short of opening a paint can or something like that, I don't know what you would use that for. Maybe some lotto scratchers?
Yeah, because that's actually what I use. They sell a tool called a spirit key for opening your paint can. I don't use that anymore. I use my shard. And it works really well because it's got the hook on it. It works really well. But yeah, I look at it, I'm just curious. It's just a little input. I think I got your input on it was because I'm looking at it. It's just a piece of metal with a taper on it.
Yeah.
That's
Yep. That's it. And they're going to sell like hotcakes because at $48 MSRP, probably going to get it for around $35 at most places. And, as an add-on to get free shipping, and you get the rainbow ones. So that way it looks good in your pocket dumps on Instagram. And you never actually have to use it because, you've got a man bun. You don't actually do anything.
I remember
and
getting
for everybody with a man bun that wants to complain, contact EDC-TV
EDC-TV at multitool.org. Yep.
Yeah, at multitool.org. Here we go. Sorry, you were going to say something, Inky, before I did our public announcement.
I bought a pry bar like 15 years ago, more. Anyway, at Home Depot for like $5, and I wrapped to a paracord. And I used to keep that in my bug out thing that lasted me about 27 minutes before I gave up on the whole bug out bag thing.
But
I
it
did was
wasn't.
I got a gun in there with one bullet instead. So when the time comes, I don't got to do anything, just one move. Well, I was going to get one for Wendy too, but she didn't want one.
Well, yeah, let's have a look at the new stuff from Benchmade. All I'm really seeing here is the mini SOCP dagger in multiple colors.
I'm not loving it.
I'm having a hard time seeing the use of that.
At least they dropped the prices of them, I think.
If you're, well, they're $100 Canadian, so that's what, about $75-$80 US. Unless you need a last-ditch knife in a bar fight in Alaska, I just don't really see the need of a boot knife nowadays. But maybe I'm old-fashioned. Abe, you've probably had more of these than me. What do you think?
I have the full-size version. Okay, so when you look at them, the concept there, and actually it's funny, James Williams and I had to talk about this, is blades like this don't really have much. I mean, everybody says, well, if I stab you in the throat, yeah. But if you're in a knife fight, there's not much penetration to them. So you're not really going to do anything to disable somebody. So if you're buying it for that reason, you're limited in its tactical application because of you've limited the targets you have. Now, everybody might get mad. I know people get mad at that because I've had people argue with me over that concept. As a quick utility thing, I don't think it's a bad idea. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're into fixed blades, it's got a minimalist grip. It takes up a little bit of space. So if you we're looking at a pocket fixed blade or a belt fixed blade, a small one just to do odd jobs, like open up a package or something like that. Now that might sound kind of weird because it's the title definitely says tactical. It does have some utility to it in my mind. Does it have the original intent? Yeah.
You know what I think? You know
Go
what I
ahead
think
and
it's good for? You know when you have a cup of coffee with the little hole in the lid? And it doesn't pour well, you stab the back of the lid? I think it's good for that, to help the airflow a little bit. Tactical coffee helper.
Yeah.
I got to say that one and I mean, I love little fixed blades, tiny fixed blades, 2-inch blades. I absolutely love that kind of thing. I find them extremely handy, and I carried them for years instead of folders. I mean, yeah, you get a lot less blade out of it, but you get a fixed blade. And I have some weird stories about when that was important, but those aren't important. So I feel like I'm the kind of guy that should be interested in the latest tiny fixed blade offering from Benchmade. And I'm looking at this, and all I can think of is, why? Like it doesn't even look like it would be comfortable to hold.
It's like a bird and trout knife or something. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. I'd
The
rather
original
have a
ones-
A.G. Russell Woods Walker in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah,
Something
I
like
got
that
one.
would be great.
The handle's not too bad. The original and the full size, larger size ones, not too bad. The cool thing about it is I find that if you, I have that old CRKT model, I'll put at 5 o'clock in my belt line. And that's easy to draw out with the pinky ring in there. You can get that out a lot easier and stuff like that. But as far as it being a SOCOM thing or something like that, I think appeals more to the high-speed, low-drag crowd, as
What
we
was
used
it?
to call them.
In one of the Expendables movies, I think Jason Statham had a knife, might have been the full-size Benchmade, but he was spinning it around on his pinky and then whipped it. And, of course, it went around the corner and up the street and down a set of stairs and hit the target perfectly.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the full-size one, it came with a chisel tip. That's not the odd part.
Alright.
Was I've seen it a couple of times on Canadian Border Guard vests, not the same Canadian Border Guard. And I looked at that thing, I knew exactly what it was. I was like, like, wait a minute, our Canadian Border Guards carrying a tactical fixed blade? I'm like, little kind of.
I feel like there's much better tactical fixed blades available even at that price. But anyways, so that seems to be about it for Benchmade. Who do we want to go to next?
Ready to go?
Spyderco. This is their 50th anniversary, so hopefully we're going to see some cool new stuff there.
That's it. Well, we've got the regular. These are our existing models. We're doing special runs of them. Like they've got that paramilitary with the serrated.
Oh, Inky, you'll be excited about this. They have a new model called I don't know if it's a new model, the Little Native, but it's available in pink.
I see it. I'm very,
yeah, there it is. Yeah,
I'm very
totally.
excited.
And the next page is the Chaparral, available with a white handle.
Can I back up a little bit?
I like that. Too small though, but I like it.
I imagine they're both a little too small for your big paws, but
The Charisma.
I
You guys see that one?
See stuff like the retract. I wish they'd retract those designs from their catalog.
yeah, you too.
What is it with these weird? I
The
don't.
Charisma,
those
Abe, you
weird
think that one
knives,
speaks to you?
No, it's different. I mean, it's the other ones. I'm looking at the Native. I'm looking at the UK penknife. We all know that's what that's about. No
Yep.
lock and blades.
Yep.
But we have the militaries, variety of militaries. So that one to me, which strikes me right when I look at it, is the massive percentage of the hole takes up in that blade. Like I'm not sure. I've never done a survey on this one, as I like to say, but I've never seen a hole take up so much of the width of the blade that there's just a tiny bit of the blade from the looks of it at the
think
bottom.
that would weaken it?
I think I'm not going to say yes for sure, but I think at that point in time, that is not as strong as say the Little Native or the military, right? Because that hole makes right there at that spot. That's like half the knife, half the width of the knife at least.
See, paramilitary looks the same, but they add that hump to take the hole off.
Yeah.
They're not adding any humps in that. You know what I love? The Native Chief. That's the one I got to get. Matter of
I was
fact.
just looking at that one actually and thinking to
love the
myself
Native
it was
Chiefs.
nice,
Aren't they
but
nice looking?
I think I like the regular Native better.
Yeah, I just like the bigness of it for my hand,
It looks like more like a police model.
Yeah, a little policey and Dorious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the Native pointy blade,
Yeah.
more pointy, like I don't know.
So I guess what it finally dawned. Like I'm trying to figure out a way to explain it. To me, when I look at that Charisma, it looks like a Spyderco that's been sharpened too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does.
Is that okay?
It doesn't appeal to me. There's not enough blade there, and it has nothing to do with the hole. Sorry. I just don't care for the fact that it looks a little too thin. And getting back to what Inky was talking about earlier with the Okapi knife, I find that one a little too thin to really use seriously for anything.
That's just another
handle.
knife that's been in my life since I'm a little kid,
Well, absolutely.
There's
There's
a lot
nothing
of
wrong with
those
it. I'm
and-
not saying it's, flawed or
Yeah.
anything.
I
But
don't wanna
realistically,
carry
if I
them.
want something with a, a thin round handle, I'm going to reach for an optional.
Yeah.
At least it's contoured a little bit so that, I can get a little bit of a hold on it, even though it's smooth and round.
Yeah. Now that Charisma, I think the handle is nice. I'm looking at the handle. Right now, if I just covered up the blade, or if you added, see right by the ricasso, how it dips in, like I said, like a knife that's been sharpened too much. If you actually came out a little fuller, I think it would be an attractive knife. But in this presentation, I'm finding it too toothpicky.
It looks like a sharpened stick to me.
Yeah, toothpicky sharpened. Now the
blade is
they're
way too
tracked.
thin.
What was that, Inky?
It's way too thin, the blade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If that handle, it reminds me of maybe a Santafonte, maybe a little bit.
yeah, a
You know
little
those?
bit. Yep. Santa
Like a
Fe, I
gnat,
remember those.
the blade's ridiculous. I
So
just
they-
can't sharpen it.
Yeah, the handle's got that kind of palm swell ergonomics to it. And I just went further down the catalog, and I don't know if this is new for this year or not, but I have I bet you at least 5 original Meerkats. So they're doing a
Really?
sprint run of the Meerkat. Yeah, I just got hooked on it because at the time I was really into small knives, and there was just something about it that spoke to me. I've got to have I've got the Meerkats were released in I think blue Spyderco emblems with white boxes. That was the original line, or purple. And yeah, I've got a bunch of them. But anyways, yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping all around the place.
No, it's
Not
good.
really a big fan of that's like somebody trying to make a kukri folder with the retract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know. I got to say the retract appeals to me a little more than the what was that other one we were just talking about? The skinny one,
Charisma.
Charisma. Yeah. So I got to say they don't really appeal to me. But if I gun to my head had to buy one of them, I think I would go for the retract over the Charisma.
Yeah, probably will. You know what they say about knives like the retract from Spyderco? They say all these knives, they have the most amazing ergonomics. Like everyone's like, you got to use them. You got to use it. Like all that ugly stuff turns out to be the greatest using knives for some reason.
I had
Not
that years ago
everyone.
with a Benchmade Panther. You know this, Inky.
Yeah.
I had bought a Benchmade Panther. I played with it in the store many times and never bought it because the handle seemed blocky. And
Yeah, slippery.
yeah, it was just a rectangle. There was nothing special about it. And then they told me it was discontinued, so then I had to buy it. Yeah, I said, well, I don't like this thing anyway. I might as well use it. I don't care if it gets beat up. Geez, I tell you, that handle was actually really, really nice. So it's difficult to say from just looking at pictures on the internet.
Yeah.
Now, if you go further along, they've got the Native Chief, and I'm really liking that handle. That handle is an incredible looking handle to me. The blade is a nice looking blade too, but it's not. If I had to separate them separately, I'm really like that handle. That handle is not hating the blade. I'm just saying if you could put you could draw my attention by putting other blades on that handle.
Yeah, I could go for a different blade, but I like it enough.
Is that a FRN handle though? I'd like to see something like that in a G10.
I love that flat ground too. I love flat ground blades, man. I probably say that every episode, right?
Yeah, well, flat ground is nice. There's a reason for saying that.
Yeah.
It's easiest for me to sharpen too.
I don't see what it says for the handle here, but it definitely does look like FRN or something. So
yeah, it is. It says injected molded brown FRN handle.
Yeah. See, I would like to see something like that in a G10 or micarta or something along those lines.
Micarta, yeah.
I like a little bit of rigidity and stability in a big blade like that.
Well, that's stable, that knife.
I know it is, but I've got a lot more faith in a solid material than I do in a fancy plastic.
Who can read the length on that blade? Because I can't read the length.
A 4.02 and 3.52 cutting edge.
There we go. Yeah,
okay. A half inch of that big. You don't need to see, to me, those big, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, finish oils. I think they're mostly unnecessary.
Yeah, I think that's a waste. When you see a finger trail like that, I think it's a waste of a blade because
it's too much.
Well, yeah, you're taking away your cutting edge. If your handle is designed properly and you brought your cutting edge back, you should not have to choke up on the blade in that manner with the finger trail to get control of it.
Even the way they make the handles too big to start the choil and shorten it on the blade down to the, God help me, to the tying, I mean, that's even a waste the way they do all that.
Yeah,
every company, you don't need that. If you need that, you don't need a 4-inch blade anyway. If you're using that knife like that.
Yeah, you're losing the inch, so it's not really like you got to for how much time. So something like that, you see where the forward choil on the forward finger groove. I prefer to kind of separate it from call it choil, but the foil finger groove, and you got the peak, and then you start into the high half blade choil and half handle material choil.
Yeah, that's
right there. If they move that peak up, so that peak came right off of the curvature of the front of the scale, you would not need the blade finger choil. You should
you could shorten the handle a wee bit too.
Sorry?
You could shorten that handle a tiny bit too.
Yeah, you could, because really
you don't need all that up there.
Yeah, you could.
I hate the 5-inch handle, 3.5-inch blade things. I don't know what this one is. I'm just saying, like, you don't always need so much handle. Like, you know who's guilty of that? Unfortunately, Cold Steel.
Yes.
Giant handles, smaller blades. That's
Yeah.
a 5. That's over a 5-inch handle with a 4-inch blade. You don't need
Yeah.
that.
I
That
like
could be
now
4.5.
I like enough handle to hold on to. I start to not like a knife when you've got a small blade and you've got a tiny uncontrollable handle. Because
Yeah.
you know, that's
Yeah, you want handle, but
yeah, you want handle, but you don't want huge, like you said. So here you could do it one of two ways. I think the way it looks like I wish I could draw this. So that peak on the grip that leads right into the choil afterwards as it goes towards the blade, that just rounded off and you put the pivot point back there. Or you put the pivot point, like I said, or the choil comes out up top and fills in part of the finger choil that the handle makes, and then extended your edge, I think you'd be well off. And you could shorten the handle at the back. But I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm trying to find out what the Endura handle blade, the blade length is.
it's just under 4 inches. It's like 3.9, I believe. A tiny bit shorter. And you know what? You know what, Grant? The FRN of this, that whole big knife only weighs 3 ounces.
Yeah, I get that.
No,
But
I know you do. I mean, that's
you got
what
a
I
big
like
blade,
about it.
you want it to feel solid in your hand. So that's why I like a more premium material. But I guess that's going to just drive the price right up.
You know,
Yeah.
the Endura feels great to me, and it's FRN. Another, they do have the steel liners in there, those nested liners. I'm just getting back into the FRN thing. I was out
I
for a
really
while.
have nothing against FRN. I'm just saying that, with a larger knife, I prefer a different type of handle.
Yeah.
But, I've got nothing against FRN. I just, if I'm going to spend the money on a good big knife like that, I want a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, now I'm looking at that handle, and I've had a suspicion. I wanted to look it up because I really like the Endura and I like the Delica. So I like the style of the knife. I think that knife would look incredible with an Endura blade on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
That's a great
What is
handle.
the Endura blade? How big was it?
Okay, so this one said you said 4.2 on this one, and Inky was right on the Endura. It was 3.75.
Oh, yeah, a little bit shorter than I thought it was.
But you said a little shorter than 4 inches. And so it looks
Yeah,
you were in the ballpark. But that looks that handle, the articulation on the handle, and the lines on that handle to me look a little bit more organic. And that's what the term I use for something that doesn't have a lot of sharp edging to it. And I like that handle. I'm like really blown away with that handle. The blade's not doing any. I mean, everybody's probably listening thinking, yeah, armchair quarterbacks. But yeah, over the years of
I could feel
reviewing
that
the
knife
knives,
without touching it.
well,
You
it's
know what I mean?
aesthetics.
Well, no, we already know what that knife feels like.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the benefit of the experience that we've got, right? Over 20
Yeah.
years apiece.
And that's a key thing because I don't care what anybody says. Utility is important. That's not up for debate.
Aesthetics are as well.
Yeah, because you're not going to sell anything.
On that note, gentlemen, we are almost out of time again. So we are going to have to pick this up again next week because there's a whole lot of new products that we want to talk about. For now, Abe, have you got any parting thoughts you would like to share?
Sometimes if you don't see the utility in it first off, if you use something, a lot of times you end up falling in love with it because it becomes dependable. It comes like another right hand.
And how about you, Inky? Have you got any last words you'd like to share with people this week before we close out?
No.
Anyways, so that's our show for the week. Thank you very much for joining in. Have your say at forum.multitool.org or get back to us at EDC-TV@multitool.org. This show is, of course, sponsored by multitool.org and sacwiki.com for all of your Swiss Army knife needs. Thank you very much. Have a great night, and we will talk to you again in a week. Take care, everybody.